The disgraced Prince Andrew, what's life like for him in his new home? Now he's swimming in debt, and yes, you guessed it, he used his money, or should I say taxpayers' money, to fund Jeffrey Epstein. Now that all that is gone, what's life like for him? In order for you to understand this story, we need to talk you back. The latest revelations from the Epstein files raised some serious questions about the reliability of what the then Prince Andrew said in a BBC Newsnight interview in 2019.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. From that day forth, I was never in contact with him.
We've gone through his replies to find out how they stand up to what we found out since. In emails which were apparently sent by and to Andrew, he has previously denied any wrongdoing.
Yeah, to some extent, a stretch to say that as it were, we were close friends.
We now know that Andrew Mountbatten, Windsor and Jeffrey Epstein were in frequent contact with each other. They talked business, they mixed socially, they visited each other. They were close enough for Epstein to set up a dinner date for Andrew, promising that his guest was 26, Russian, clever, beautiful, and trustworthy in an email from August 2010 in 2008. Here's an email from Andrew to Epstein in 2009, please. May I stay in your beautiful apartment? Again, Andrew was asking about using Epstein's place in Paris at a time when he says there was no contact.
But this email was sent as soon as Epstein's sentence was over in July 2010, saying congratulations, as he'd found out you were allowed out from yesterday. While in New York, this picture was taken of the pair walking in a park. Andrew gave an account of their conversation, where their connection was said to have been severed.
Look, because of what has happened.
No signs of stopping. Soon after, Andrew was back in the UK. It was great to spend time with my US family. Looking forward to joining you all again soon, he told Epstein. I'll call you tomorrow, as I'm moving the family up to Sandringham during the day.
But this email was sent as soon as Epstein's sentence was over in July 2010, saying congratulations, as he'd found out you were allowed out from yesterday while in New York. This picture was taken of the pair walking in a park. Andrew gave an account of their conversation where their connection was said to have been severed. Forward, the contact showed no signs of stopping. Soon after Andrew was back in the UK, it was great to spend time with my US family. Looking forward to joining you all again soon, he told Epstein. I'll call you tomorrow as I'm moving the family up to Sandringham. During the day, the no contact had evaporated. Andrew went on to say Epstein had been understanding about the end of their relationship with Andrew, insisting that with all the attendant scrutiny on me, it was over. But months later, they were still sending friendly emails to each other, with Andrew in February 2011 promising Epstein, "We'll play some more soon." In the interview, he maintained that he had taken a moral stance on cutting off ties with Epstein. It seemed an important part of his testimony.
I took the decision that I had to show leadership and I had to go and see him and I had to tell him that's it.
Although the emails suggest that wasn't it. They were even in touch on Christmas Day. Emily Maitlis pressed the point about this being their only connection since his conviction in 2008, and it got worse when he sold British intel to Epstein in what the British media says.
Very well, thank you.
Your thoughts on this? Now, here's the score with Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He was already under intense pressure after the Epstein files revealed that he, allegedly, you have to say this, it could be that these files were not genuine, but it looks as if they are, that he passed on basically British secret information, British secret communiques from his time when he was trade envoy to his buddy, the billionaire paedophile.
By the emails, can you speak anytime from now until later today? That was Andrew's message to Epstein on Christmas Eve. After that trip, one of a number of emails that seemed to be about setting up phone calls. The interview turned to Virginia Roberts, whose later married name was Virginia Duffy, and who became Andrew's most prominent accuser before her death in 2005.
None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her?
No.
Behind the scenes, there were emails back and forth about her claims that included preparing a statement for Ghislaine Maxwell to explain her position, including a contribution from Amanda Terse, Andrew's private secretary and close advisor. Her proposal was to reject Virginia's claims about being trafficked for sex with Andrew as completely untrue, but she suggested that Maxwell said the only time I recall the meeting was at my home in 2001 in London. You have published a photo. They did not have sex. They may have met up again in New York, but I categorically state that Prince Andrew did not grope, nor did they have sex. There was no orgy in Little St. James. It rejected any wrongdoing, but it accepted that they had met in London and possibly New York, and the photo of Jeff and Andrew together was authentic. There was an explanation that he was in Woking at Pizza Express, and more doubt was cast on the photo.
You've seen.
But an email from Ghislaine Maxwell again appears to confirm that there was a meeting with Jeffrey that evening at Maxwell's London house, and that the photo was taken there. In a draft statement she sent to Jeffrey Epstein in 2015, she wrote, in 2001, I was in London when I met a number of friends of mine, including Prince Andrew. A photograph was taken, as I imagine she wanted to show it to friends and family. It doesn't seem to dispute the photo or the meeting. There have been more recent calls for Andrew to testify about what he knew, and Emily Maitlis put, among the significant findings of the released emails is how hard the US authorities tried to get Andrew to testify, with no sign of him or his lawyers being willing. The US authorities concluded in an email from 2020 that efforts to obtain a truly voluntary interview have been exhausted. They then began a formal process of trying to compel Andrew to give evidence. More than 6 years after the Newsnight interview, there is still no sign of him planning to share what he knows about Epstein as the interview came to a close. Emily Maitlis then asked more about Andrew's feelings about the scandal and how the royals should respond. His response, once again, relies on the claim that he'd cut ties with Epstein on that New York trip in 2010. Emails show he was frequently still in contact. That included sending Epstein official documents from Andrew's trips as trade envoy, including confidential information from Afghanistan. All of that was sent after the time he claimed not to be in contact. Emily Maitlis gave him one more chance to make an apology. Stayed with him. From the release files, the emails indicate that Epstein's conviction wasn't any problem for Andrew. As we've seen, his response at the end of Epstein's sentence was congratulations. And their personal, social and business connection had shown no signs of stopping. We have contacted Andrew Mountbatten Windsor for comment. He's previously denied any wrongdoing. Does he really deserve this punishment, or the punishment is quite little? As the dust settles on the eviction from Royal Lodge, Andrew finds himself in a new reality that is as stark as it is symbolic. He has reportedly been relocated to Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate, a property that the tabloids have grimly dubbed the ultimate divorce home. Wood Farm has a haunting history of housing the royal family's outcasts. It was here that Prince John, the lost prince, was hidden away from the public eye due to his epilepsy until his death in 1919. It was also the designated holding pen for divorced spouses. For years, Sarah Ferguson was forced to stay here during Christmas because she was banned from the main house at Sandringham. Now, in a cruel twist of irony, Andrew occupies the very rooms where his ex-wife once sat in exile. Life today for the Duke is a far cry from the 30-room grandeur of Royal Lodge. The property is modest, isolated, and quiet, painfully so. Reports from early 2026 suggest a daily routine defined by solitude. Stripped of his police protection and relying on a private security detail funded by a reluctant King Charles, Andrew is effectively a prisoner of his own making. He spends his days riding within the confines of the estate, cut off from the inner circle of the monarchy, with Virginia Giuffre's tragic passing in 2005 closing the door on any further legal redemption, and the Epstein files ensuring his reputation remains in tatters. Andrew is truly on the brink. He is living out his remaining years in the shadow of the crown, inhabiting a home famous for hiding the family's secrets, becoming a ghost in his own lifetime.